morning I thought I'd get out of my car. Somebody asked me the other day, why do you record from your car? Because it's really quiet, I don't get interrupted, and there's no acoustics, weird acoustics. So it's just kind of where I record. But I wanted to talk a little bit. Yesterday was the group of people that stepped forward and wanted to do the steps with me on Zoom. We did the first step yesterday, and it was pretty exciting. I've got a whole list of other people that want to go through the steps. So I do have your information. If you didn't make this first group, we'll get it done. It's been pretty exciting. You know, the first step, if you read to 43, the first step really is easier than you think. And what I really got out of meeting all these women from all over the world, it's amazing, who stepped forward to do this, right? But what I really realized about this is that people think this has to be a hard going, that these steps are really a hard thing, right? It's going to take a lot of time. It's going to take a lot of this. No, it's not. It's a very simple program designed for very complicated people. You know, that's an old saying in AA, and it is true. It's a very simple process because it's a spiritual process. So you're going to do a set of readings, and then you're going to answer the questions. My group in particular has put together a series of questions out of the book. Next to each question has the page of the book, you know, that it talks about it, where you find the answer. So it's really simple, and you're either convinced or you're not, you know. And if you're not convinced, you go back and you reread the reading again until you get it. Or you go back drinking and use it. Maybe you're not ready to get sober, right? So it's really not tough. It's not a tough process at all. And I'll tell you, the first step is pretty easy, because if you even get to a place where you're asking someone to take you through the steps, then you know that you are powerless over alcohol and your life is becoming manageable. People with some get down do not end up at AA. You are out of get down if you go to AA, right? That's a pretty normal. People don't go to AA and then say, I wonder if I'm alcoholic. If you've gotten yourself to AA, pretty much you probably got a problem, right? Some kind of problem. Heavy drinking, whatever, doesn't really matter. People get hung up on that too. They don't want to be an alcoholic so bad. They'd rather be a heavy drinker. Whatever, you know, the answer is the same. The solution is going to be the same. So the first step was great yesterday, and we did the second. I started the second step this morning. Did some second step with some people from Ireland early this morning because of the time difference. I'm doing it at different times. And the second step, people get hung up on that. The reading for the next step, if you want to read ahead, if you're doing the steps with me, the next round is pages 44 to 57, We Agnostics. And a lot of people, we were talking about this morning, a lot of people get hung up on God, the God idea, right? And they use the God idea to stay out of Alcoholics Anonymous. I don't believe God. AA is all about God. AA is a spiritual program. It's a spiritual melody, and there's a spiritual answer to it. It has nothing to do with God. There's no baptism at the end of the steps. There's no communion to take or punch to drink, nothing like that, okay? I believe when I read We Agnostics, what it's really asking me is, can I be open-minded, right? Can I be open-minded? I don't know everything. Obviously, I don't. I ended up in AA, right? So I don't know everything. I don't know. I'm not God, right? I have no control over what anybody else does, what happens. The only thing I have any sort of control over, with God's help, is my reaction, right? How I react to something. That's what I'm asking God to help me with. I can't change anybody else. I can't change what's happening in the world, but I can change how I deal with it, or my response to it. You know what I mean? So it's just asking me, can I be open-minded? That one of the biggest problems in with alcoholism is the ego. The ego has to be smashed, and I think by admitting that there's a power greater than yourself, that's kind of like a humbling experience, even if you don't know what it is. See, that's the beauty of AA. You don't have to have a God. You just got to look for one. It's in the seeking where you find God. It's the action of trying to be open-minded and willing go through the process of the steps and see what happens, right? See if your attitude changes. That's all it is. People make a big going of it. It's not. It's not that hard. Open-mindedness, willingness, and honesty is the only thing that you got to bring to the table. Sometimes people don't have that, and they can't get sober. So the one thing that helps people get open-minded is consequences. I know from my own experience. You don't want to do that, right? Sometimes the consequences are fatal, and sometimes they're just downright, I mean, oh my God, can't even tell you. But, you know, consequences of my alcoholism made me willing to believe. So you might want to consider that seeking, you know, and some people believe that AA, a group of drunks, is God. Whatever, just as long as you know it's not you. Okay? Have a great day. I love you all. Don't forget to do your pages.